Hey everyone, welcome to ADHD Founders, where we talk about having ADHD as founders. And then this episode, it's just Sharon and Jesse. Marie's not with us. And so Jesse and I decided to just dive in a little bit to the parenting topic and kind of just the notion of having ADHD as a parent. We also talk about AI and kids and how we're navigating that as parents and some of the things we've noticed with our kids. What else do we talk about, Jesse?
Yeah, I kind of feel like we went a little bit all over the place in a fun
Weird.
way. So kind of starting, really, really strange for us. But starting with, like the kids and the parenting and being an entrepreneur and ADHD and kind of all of that. And then I thought we covered some fun stuff with AI as well as some of the cool things that both of us are building.
Yes.
So I think it was a good episode.
We ended with picks. We actually have 4 or 5 picks between us at the end of the episode. So
We started with 0 and ended up with a lot. If you want to help support the show, you can go to patreon.com/ADHD_founders and become a patron and help pay for the editing and make this show keep on going.
Make sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok. It's also at ADHD_founders.
Enjoy the episode.
Do you ever have the thing where you're like drafting a social media post and you have such deja vu? Like, I'm like, did I already make this and schedule it? I have this one and I'm like, this feels so familiar. And now I want to just stop for a second because I feel like I might have it scheduled somewhere already.
Like you're going to plagiarize yourself.
I feel like I do that a lot.
I haven't had that with like one already scheduled, but I don't do a lot of like pre-scheduling stuff. But I've definitely had where something comes to mind and I'm like, oh, I should, tweet about that or whatever. And then I will have that kind of deja vu and then search, like did I almost say this? And luckily, like Twitter has like or X now has a really great search where you can do a lot of like different flags and stuff to be able to like, from this user between this date and that date, you can do a lot of little things like that to really have like an advanced search. And so I used to use that a ton whenever I had that kind of feeling of like, did I already say this thing about coffee or whatever?
Right. Like your style of content. And this is kind of a repost of something I've done before. It should feel familiar, but not this familiar. Like I feel like I did this yesterday. Anyway, I'm going to go and just put this aside and focus on you and I'll figure it out afterward. I was just about to hit post
Awesome.
And I was like, no, I got to wait.
You're like, maybe this needs a little extra check.
Well, it's just you and I today. Marie had a scheduling conflict. And so I think we figured since we are both parents, maybe we could kind of dive in a little bit on the parenting topic and parenting plus ADHD plus being an entrepreneur. Are there more pluses?
The weird world that there's a lot of pluses, but there's some minuses as well to the whole situation. Right. No, I know.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. Wink, 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 nudge, nudge.
Do you know the term Maycember? It's
no, I don't
it's
think I've heard that.
It's a social media thing, but it's that May is basically the equivalent amount of stress as December for parents.
Oh,
like because there's just so much.
Yeah.
Well, it's June now, but I think May and June, and in the Northwest, our school goes until mid-June, or at least mine does. So
yeah, same here. Yeah,
it's like the last 2 weeks of school and teacher presents, which I love teachers and I want to give them presents, but it's a lot. And also all the spirit weeks, and there's just a lot going on.
Every day, it's Spirit Day every day for weeks and like there was just last night, one of my kids was telling me that tomorrow is Quiet Technology Day. And so they were allowed to bring some technology, like an iPad or something like that. But we just like found out about last minute because I think it's because it's like the end of school. And so they're having like days that are like very chill so that literally bring something to entertain yourself in class.
But that's hard because then, not every kid's going to have the same stuff and act. That's all just, I
had a lot of questions, but it was like literally bedtime where I was like, oh, by the way, can I bring a computer to school tomorrow? And no, you can't. But now we got to figure this thing out. It's chaos. And we have we have multiple concerts that are like almost overlapping, and baseball games and piano recitals. We have everything is happening right now. So May, December, I hadn't heard it before somehow, but I've definitely been living it.
My hard one was, well, they do at my son's school, and the ABCs of the last day of school. So 26, is that how many letters are in the alphabet? Yeah. 26, the 26 school days leading up to the end of school are themed.
I think that's why we were on cue. I think they were doing the same sort of thing.
I don't know a lot of other parents that have this. So you can relate. I think this year they used ChatGPT. Like they went off the wall with it. One of them, like, dress as your future career day. Like, come on, people. Like, number one, this is what happens. So I have a son who has trouble making this, like is stressed out about big decisions and transitions. And so at 7:30, when we're trying to get him out the door, he's trying to decide what he wants to do for the rest of his life as a career. Like he's like, but I don't know what I want to be. Like,
right.
I'm not sure. And I'm like, you don't have to be sure. So we compromised. We made him a little sticker for his shirt, like a name tag that said, I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. Just nice. It was official.
Because there's the only thing worse than like having like the wrong thing is just like showing up with nothing and then being like everyone else is participating and I did nothing. Yes. you don't want to stand out that way. So
and it's
so much pressure on the kids.
And it just adds. And he goes to a charter school. It's a public charter school, so he actually wears uniforms to school. So I'm used to having this very easy in terms of clothing. Easy morning because it's like
the decisions made.
Yeah, it's you take the shirt from that shirt drawer and the pants from that pants drawer and you're off. And this has just been It's so much.
It's chaos. And the letters thing, you're saying that and I'm remembering now, like, it was pajama day and then quiet technology day. I don't know what's in store for the rest of the year, but we got to figure out these letters.
They don't release them all at the same time. They do it on Sunday the week before, and I think it's because they don't want people to like shop for it. But it's like, you know what?
Right.
Let me make that decision. Like, if he really wants to be a doctor and it's easy for me to get like a little whatever doctor sign, let me do that then I could hyper focus on it and just get it all done. Yeah, it's not super compatible with my ADHD.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering, we were talking a little bit before the call about talking about parenting. And one thing before we kind of get into that, I'm curious, one of the things we talk about a lot on this, gets talked about everywhere is just like AI and how that's become, everywhere. And it's been really fascinating for me being able to kind of like see that through the lens of my kids, like see how they're responding to it and reacting to it and what they think about it. And so I'm curious what you've seen through that. Our kids are a slightly different age. Mine are a little bit older. I'm kind of in that like 9 to 15 bracket and you're a little bit under that.
Yeah, we have some overlap.
But what have your kids?
Yeah, my kids are 5 and 10. So my 5-year-old doesn't know anything about it. He's
right.
It's interesting too because I also have an AI startup. So like my product.
Right.
So when when I'm explaining to my 10-year-old like what I do, what I make, it's this is people talk to this AI. It keeps them on track. So I have to if I want to tell them and have a conversation about what I do, it involves AI. It's just people talk about it a lot. Like at home, he'll say like, "Can you ask ChatGPT?" Like he'll kind of prompt me to ask, if we're like, oh, what are the ingredients in this thing and why is this guy blue? It's, his instinct often is to say ChatGPT. Although, when he was like 3 or 4 years ago, he would say, look it up on your phone. Like, I think that this generation is, people ask Alexa a lot. Like this generation is used to on-demand answers. So I don't know if it changed that much. I'm curious for you get it more. I think the point that I feel weighs on me is I don't like doing the voice AI question answer stuff in front of the kids because it just brings it to a different level for me. And they're always trying to just like ask questions about it. Like instead of just sticking with like how many baseball players were in the Hall of Fame for blah, blah, blah. It's like, what's your favorite color? And I'm like, okay, well, that's just like, let's not. don't make small talk with AI. So that's when I kind of cut things off.
Yeah. So we have like I'm being careful of the keywords because I have one in the room with me, but not the Alexa, but we have a Google one. And the kids are always like calling out to that one just for like, oh, when did like baseball stuff. They'll be like, who had the most hits in this year and blah, blah, blah. So they'll like do stuff like that. But they definitely treat it as a thing they know is dumb and not like AI.
Mm-hmm.
Like they know they're like, nope, cancel, nope, stop, and like trying to guide it to what they're trying to get it to answer. But as far as like actual AI, as you know, as opposed to just like the voice assistants that are kind of dumb comparatively, it's been really interesting because I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong on this, but I feel like in general, like the the younger kind of generation is usually really embracing of new technology, and like the older generation like is against it.
Wait, is that what you think you're wrong on? I think that's documented. I think you're right on that.
Right. And there's like a famous quote by Douglas Adams. I don't know the exact quote, but it's something to the effect of like, anything invented before you were born is the natural order of the world. Anything invented before you were 35 is a way to make money. And anything invented after you're 35 is ruining everything, is ruining society, basically. Which is, I think that's like a really nice kind of rubric.
Yeah.
But it breaks down with AI because like my experience with my kids, my two older kids, they kind of hate AI. Like they're sort of reluctantly using it in places, and they know that I use it some stuff for like some work stuff. Mm-hmm. But I think my daughter in particular, who, you know, she's like 9th grade, she's right in that like, you know, about to go to high school, and she's an artist. And so I think that is maybe like an angle that really makes her anti-AI, because they're seeing AI art, and they actually talk about their teachers using AI art and how obvious it is to them, and how they just have like this natural, I don't know, like not dislike of anything. They're like, you know, just like asking about all the time, is that AI?
Yeah.
Because if it is, I don't want to like
distrust
it, kind of a thing.
Yeah, or like the like a really healthy dose of skepticism too. Yeah. I'm curious though that if that's resistance to the technology as much as it's a resistance to like the man, you know, of like, you know, or like, which I think does resonate with younger people of like, you know, don't try to fool me. Don't try, you know, like being like feeling confident in their ability to sniff out fact from fiction. I don't know. But it is an interesting, it's like a murky crossover there of like embracing it. Do they use it for school, or is there a necessity to use AI?
They avoid it for the most part. I know some other classmates of theirs are using it a lot. And so I don't know if this is just like a my kids sort of thing. Like the oldest being, you know, she draws a lot. And so I don't know if she's like guiding her younger brother to also be kind of against it. But yeah, there's some usage of it. Like there was something recently where she was doing some homework, and she was trying to come up with examples for something in a speech she was going to give. And she had asked me, and I was like, well, you know, this is like a really good use of AI, of just like ask for a dozen examples of this thing, and then you have some ideas to kind of pick from. She was like, yeah, okay.
Oh my gosh.
Like really kind of reluctantly, like, yeah, I guess it would be useful for that, so I'll use it for that. But
that feels unique. That doesn't feel like every kid would say that.
It might just be my daughter. I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, and I also don't know what the talk track is in schools, because I wonder if they're also like highly discouraging use of AI, or if they've kind of started in on that at that age. Because I mean, I think remember when when we were in school, it was like Wikipedia. Well, like at least me, it was like pasting things from Wikipedia or taking things from online and like plagiarism, like obviously, but that was kind of the heyday of that was when I was in high school, college. And they're like, you know, there would be these like tells where you accidentally leave some clue that it was from Wikipedia, or even honestly before that, Jesse, the thesaurus feature in Microsoft Word. Do you remember that being a thing? And people would misuse it. They would try to use sentence like word variety, and then they would accidentally like substitute, you know, Joey for baby kangaroo, or you know, like I don't know, like they actually do it for their whole document.
I think kids have been using whatever technology is available to make for forever to cheat their way through homework. I saw a post the other day that was like, my kid is challenging how I could have possibly written a 10-page paper before AI. And I'm telling them, I wrote a 10-page paper on a book that I didn't even read.
Take that.
I thought was pretty good. I read that synopsis on the back and faked my way through 10 pages of a report.
Yeah, take that. Yeah. And I mean, and then also cliff notes. the
Right. Yeah.
original
Yeah.
also cheating method.
Yeah.
I think that it is, but it is interesting that I think that I do feel, and I hope actually that that continues with your daughter's example of like the preciousness of art and creation and making
Yeah.
things that are human and that are real and that are you and that are expressive. Because I mean, I certainly don't want to see that lost with AI, and I feel like there's a really strong path for new and cool things to happen with art in in a time of AI. But I like that that's coming through in a younger generation too.
Yeah, I do think I feel like I'm noticing them make more of that distinction between AI as like a helper and generative AI. Like
Hmm.
they're talking they'll say, "Oh, that's generative AI." And like kind of making that distinction of like AI isn't this giant bubble that includes everything. It's like kind of they're kind of picking apart that nuance a little bit, which I think is pretty cool. Just like watching that
Hmm.
kind of evolve in them as they're just learning around the world and learning what they think is good and bad and what they appreciate and what they don't. And that feels like a distinction kind of worth making as we're trying to navigate how crazy all of this stuff is, because it's undeniable how helpful AI can be in a lot of ways. And I do think that there's kind of that more difficult area when it comes with art and stuff like that. But also I use AI to like I'm like trying to understand something and I'll be like, "Hey Claude, generate like an HTML guide that will explain this concept to me and throw in some illustrations and stuff because that visual will make it easier for me to understand." And it's like a unique, specifically crafted page for my,
Hmm.
it has the context of what I already know and can kind of develop. And that's like not even something I could have done before. And so there's like this, it's such a weird, there's like 5,000 gray lines for how to navigate what I think where I struggle is like it feels like there's a morality to how to use it somehow, and none of that is clear right now. It's all gray.
It is. And I think that, and I do, I see people and I hear people kind of throwing down a pretty hard line too, which I don't think is very healthy either, right? Like AI is bad because of XYZ. So I'm just staying off of it, which totally is a
Right.
choice. And I completely respect that. I just not something I would ever say because I'm just the person who always uses the latest technology and always wants to. So it's
I
just like,
know.
that's such
Yeah.
a foreign idea to me. Um,
Yeah, I'm an early adopter for life.
right.
Like that's just who
I'm
I've
like,
always
I'm gonna sit
been.
this one
Yeah.
out. Like,
Yeah.
it's just not gonna happen for me.
Right.
I mean, I think that that's the exciting thing about like any new kind of leap in evolution of technology is like just seeing kind of where everything lands. Because art has
Right.
taken some. I mean, I'm not gonna be the best person to speak about art in general, but like art has evolved with technology too. Like there's tons of examples of
Right.
that. So like just being able to
Yeah, just
see where
like the
you,
invention of
yeah,
photography, like change. There used to be all these artists
mhm,
that would do portraits because that was the way to capture
right,
someone's image, and then photography comes around and completely, upends that whole world.
right.
And it didn't eliminate portrait, painting or whatever, but it sure changed the landscape of what
For
that
graphic
was.
graphic design tool, it's like there's just a million
Yeah.
examples. And I
Hmm.
think
Hmm.
that, yeah, I mean, it does make me think about well, I mean, like this is another a little bit of a departure from Maysember, but even just thinking about like careers for your kids and like what those will even look like and what college will look like, it just feels like so far away. I mean, which is about like maybe 8 years away from my oldest, which isn't a lot of
Right.
time because I mean, as someone who's over
Right.
40, I know that. But I mean, so much is going to happen before then. So I also, as a
Totally.
parent, feel responsible for, making sure that they're, scrappy and, or just, flexible and have grit and have the ability to be flexible and use the tools before them, in the way that makes sense for
Right.
whatever they're going to do in this world.
Yeah, which I think is kind of really helpful being like an entrepreneurial parent of like the answer isn't like, "Oh, you should do this career," because what I would have said for that 2 years ago has totally changed
Right.
because everything's changing so fast. Like so many classical career choices have been completely upended in the last few
Yes.
years. And so there isn't the obvious like recommended path of what it may have been. And so there's a little bit of that like just like navigating and the entrepreneurial or like the grit. It's almost like teaching tenets or like ways of approaching so that you can be adaptable to whatever the landscape may
Yes.
look like in that
Adaptability.
time.
Yeah. I think that's the right word is it's like what is what are we gonna do? How can I just make you like a person who can make it through? Really, hopefully anything.
Right.
But like,
Right, right.
these things are top of mind. And I mean, and I don't know if this is an advantage for the ADHD brain as a like having ADHD brain as a parent. I am curious how because I'm really like with them, I'm like, you don't have to decide really anything. Like you like try a lot of things. I think that because I'm someone who likes to try a lot of things and obviously like a hobby hopper. And I mean, those aren't regrets that I have about how my brain made its way through childhood. So I feel like that's something I'm always kind of encouraging them to do of like not really pushing them to stick with, I mean, like, stick with a commitment, yes, but like that they need to decide a
Yeah.
hobby and that's their hobby. I feel like I give them more wiggle room on that.
Well, kind of speaking of the like parenting and entrepreneurship and all of that, like I'm curious what you brought up the topic to kind of talk about this today. I'm curious what does that world look like trying to be a parent and like working from home and the weirdness of like kind of I guess not weirdness, but uniqueness of you're not doing like a normal 9 to 5 and come home and just do the parenting from there. Like what does that kind of look like?
Yeah, working from home is the other plus I think that we're looking for. That like just as it is
Right.
another it is
Right,
another
right,
element.
right.
You have like workspace, home space, and it all merges together. I think each of them has things that come into my parenting experience and probably the experience of the people that I'm parenting. I genuinely feel like my diagnosis of ADHD in my late 30s made me a better parent in a lot of ways because I'm someone who's struggled with self regulation. I have a lot of shame and self judgment, and just the ability to just understand myself better. I think just that
Yeah.
unlocked a lot more empathy from me and just a lot like self awareness of knowing when I actually just need to remove myself and put myself in timeout and kind of give that a moment to come back and deal with something. Because,
Right.
like two dysregulated people and kids, whether they're neurodivergent or not, aren't great at self-regulation. That's something they're learning. And so we kind of like the battle of regulation definitely take place.
Right,
And
right.
that's something that as a parent, oh, there's one of my kids just came in like on cue.
Perfect.
Could that have been better timed? Brian took him to the zoo as like a little dad son afternoon thing. And he wanted to show me his stuffed
Very
animal.
nice.
But I mean, I think that was huge for me. And then also understanding just how, and you obviously dove way into this because you literally wrote a book on it, but just even understanding how like to break things down and navigate things for myself, like difficult situations or trying to get something done or focusing on literally just getting ready in the morning and the sequence of that, I think has given me
Right.
more empathy, but also just understanding like if I need structure, they need it times 2 at least. So being able to
Right,
try to
right.
like bring those things into our like environment too.
Yeah, I would definitely agree that I mean, at least from my perspective, I feel like I became a much better parent after being diagnosed with ADHD. And it's just like, just the awareness that brings
Mhm.
and the understanding that this isn't me being weird. This is just how my brain
Yeah.
works. And then when my kids, which all of them now have been diagnosed with ADHD, is like, oh, okay, well, their brain works this way too, which helps me understand them better because now when I'm learning about ADHD, I can sort of apply it to this big chunk of the family of basically everyone except for my wife has ADHD. And so I have this understanding, even if our brains don't work exactly the same, having this extra perspective of why they may struggle with certain things or why this might not work for them, but these other strategies that seem a little bit weird to most people can be helpful for like homework and things like that.
Yes.
And kind of having that understanding and like you said, empathy of like they're going to struggle with things. And that doesn't make them having ADHD and struggling with certain things doesn't mean that now I have the secret solution that's going to make it easy for them. Like I don't I
Wouldn't
don't
that be
know how to
great?
get them to do homework sometimes
Yeah.
and things like that. But it helps me understand what why they're struggling in the way they are and how we can kind of take different approaches and try different things and stuff like that.
And, and my oldest, we're kind of in the process of diagnosing some things, and like having that framework too helps me try, obviously, if I'm my best regulated self, I can step out of judgment that I would maybe have put on him. Like, your room is so
Right.
messy. You're messy. You're like, you forgot to do the home, like, you forgot there's homework in your bag. Huh. Like, I really, really, really try, because I hear so much shame from those things as a child, which came from everywhere, right? Like, not just
Right.
parents, but that just feeling like kind of that less than feeling, and those hits on my self-worth for not thinking to pick up the towel that I just used, and it's not a moral failing. It's just the lack, like, the lack of awareness of an object. And I
Right.
really, really try not to go into like shame land with those things. I not perfect on that, because it can be really frustrating when you step on Legos, and it can be really frustrating when, like, and, we're not always our best selves, but I think that helps me a lot, because not only am I trying not to shame someone actively, but I think that I'm not judging him as much, because I know that that's not, his fault.
Yeah, and I think also a lot of the time, I feel like I'm more easily able to get into the frame of mind of like, how can we solve
Mhm.
this? And so, like, oh, if you're forgetting to bring your lunchbox home every day or something like that, like my thinking can be more around like, how can we create a system to
Yes.
prevent that?
Yes.
Like, what can we do that's gonna remind you at the right time or something like that, so that it's not just like a, hey, you failed again. Please try harder next time. No, even though I know that's not gonna help.
Yes, thinking of systems, bringing myself in on it too. Let's think of something that will remind us, like, that we can do this
Right,
together,
right.
because that feels so great. And when you're just less alone in that daunting need to just thrive and survive with executive function, like, all right, all right, all right, we're not this isn't alone. And then I even, I do all these automations. I talk about that a lot, but I'll even bring him in on that sometimes. Like, hey, should I set up an automation so like when we get to the basketball gym, it pings me what the door code is, because we're always like
Oh, that's so
looking for the door
cool.
code, and he's like,
Yeah.
oh, why can't I remember it? I'm like, I can't remember it either. And so that's a simple one, and it doesn't involve AI, it's just automation. And I just think that, like, I try to talk through those things out loud. And that's the other thing, similar to kind of what you said, is when I find myself making a system for myself, I try to remember to share that, to say, I'm leaving this
Yeah,
by the
yeah.
door. I'm putting the water bottles by the door, because I don't want to forget the water bottles. Like, I'm afraid I'll forget them if I don't put them, if I'm not almost going to trip on them. So that's one of my strategy.
Right.
Everyone, please leave this here. So, like, I'll try to just kind of bring them in on
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Just, well, I think for two reasons. Number one, it actually really helps me remember, like, it helps that working memory for me. So, point for that. Number two, obviously modeling, like, this is a strategy. And number three, like, you're not the only person who struggles with this. Like, I'm not just this perfect parent raining down, like, you shoulds, you have to. I'm still a work in progress also.
Yeah, I mean that just reminds me, several episodes back we were talking about like the finger rule, where I'll talk about like saving something
Mm-hmm.
to a finger. And I didn't even think about it until just now, but I was doing that last night when I was telling one of my kids, to go up and do, he had a couple things he had to do before he went to bed.
Uh-huh.
And so I was like, hold up this finger, that's brushing your teeth. This finger, that's,
Oh,
going to the bathroom or whatever. And I didn't even think about it at the time, but now I'm like, I was teaching him the finger rule. I was teaching him a method that works for me to help remember those things, of kind of assigning it to a thing that will be with me as I'm going to do that
I
task.
need to teach the finger rule to my kids. I do the interrupting thing. It's kind of similar to the finger roll, which is because, kids will, like, they want to get the thing out, right? They want to say, like, tell their
Yeah,
mom
yeah, yeah.
something. And so we do the thing where they have to put their hand on my shoulder and wait until I
Mm-hmm.
come to them, which, like, is kind of like the finger roll, but it's also like teaching
Right, right.
politeness as well. But I mean, later in life, like, the reason you do your finger roll is so that you're trying not to interrupt somebody as well. So it kind of is the same
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
And maybe any, oh
All
my
right,
gosh,
well,
there's literally a
we've got.
coyote in my backyard right now.
Whoa,
Like, straight up coyote. Oh, wait,
is that a common occurrence?
there's a big coyote thing behind me, but I actually I just want to just make sure my kids aren't anywhere near. I'll be right back.
Okay.
All right, everything's fine with the coyote. He's not there anymore, and the children are not in the backyard. Should we pivot to company updates?
Yeah, let's do some company updates.
Okay.
So you should go first. We should have led with this maybe because last episode you had sort of teased a possible new thing. Actually, was that on the episode or was that after? I think it was in the episode.
I think so.
A slight tease.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's going on? Are you doing a new app?
Yes. Doing new app. It's kind of happening fast, but we were I originally thought of this as a feature, but then it just kept feeling like a new app. So what it is going to be is called working title, Prove It. I feel like I have to say it in like a deep voice, like prove it. And it's
Prove it.
Prove it. That's you got it. And it's a really simple framework. Essentially, it's an alert that you set up to make you go to your habit spot. So I want to walk the dog at 3:00. I have to get to the leash because I have a little, it's going to be NFC tag based. So I'm going to have a little smart sticker that I have to tap with my phone after the alarm goes off, or else the alarm will keep going off and keep going off. And the only way to turn off is to tap the tag or to pay 29 cents bail. And then the 29 cents will go to fund a pool of giveaways. So you could be a lucky winner. And obviously part of it goes to Apple because that's how the App Store works.
That's how it works.
But so that concept, so it's like walking the dog, put it by the dog leash. I want to wake up in the morning, so I'm going to put it on the mirror in my bathroom so that I have to get my butt all the way out of bed and walk and tap it. I want to take a medicine every day. I will snooze and snooze and snooze stuff. And it's like an unsnoozable alarm until you get there and tap it. So prove you're there. And then the idea is getting there is half the battle. But obviously you can see the extension where like we could then be like, and now take a photo to prove that you started it. And now take a, prove it more. Yeah. But the initial prove it would just be tapping an NFC tag to prove you got there.
That's such an interesting idea. Like it reminds me of when people will do something like make a bet with a friend and something like, I need to do this by this time or this every day. Otherwise, I'll do this donation to some like organization that is against my personal beliefs or something like that.
Totally, yes.
And kind of like this like extra challenge of like, if they're doing something like they have an exercise goal or some sort of recurring
people
habit
have productized that too. There definitely have been.
Yeah.
I'm blanking on there's something like stick bet, or I don't remember, but there have been things like that. And I do think that could be a possible future feature, right? Like having an embarrassing text that sends, like a lot of different penalty ideas. People have, and I love that. Like I've been trying to share, kind of build in public on it. I've just done a couple little posts here and there, but people's comments have been really fun and interesting too. And people definitely are interested in like more ways to prove it. So like photo evidence, things like that. People are interested in like other forms of punishment other than, and actually I think, I don't know if we're playing with in the initial version, if it's easy enough to actually allow people to choose. 29 cents is the minimum bail amount, but they can actually set it for higher, like, $2, $2.99, $5.99, whatever. Because maybe if it's like for a really important task and you want a bigger potential penalty, then maybe you would actually pick a higher one. I don't know if anyone would actually use it, but we'll see. And we're going to have it be a free app.
Nice. It kind of reminds me, this is insane scope creep, but an idea that kind of came to mind when you suggested that. I don't know if you've ever played. Well, you're not a big video gamer, but there was a really popular. What's that?
I'm married to one.
You're married to a big. Okay,
yes.
So there's a really popular series called Fable, and there's a new one coming out soon, or I think it just got pushed to next year. But anyway, one of the things that happened in the early version, I think the first couple at least of Fable, is when your character did like quote unquote evil actions, like you made a choice that was bad for someone or you betrayed someone or something like that, it would actually cause like physical appearance to your character. So you could either over time become this really like
decrepit
angelic hero sort of thing where you'd actually have like a halo would show up, or it would turn the opposite. You would turn darker and you have like red glowing. And it was kind of like
Oh,
it would
funny.
alter what your character looked like based on like the actions you took.
That's funny.
So a long way of getting to one thing that would be kind of interesting. I could see an app like this where you actually had an avatar, and failing to prove it would cause like negative things to happen to your avatar.
Yeah.
Like maybe you get a scar or something like that. I don't know what it might be, but that was one thing that kind of came to mind is like a fun. And that's another thing I'm seeing. Like my daughter loves these different apps where she gets an avatar, or there's the one that Hank Green did,
like the resurgence,
where you're like decorating your room, you're unlocking kind of all this stuff.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. It's kind of modern digital Tamagotchi in a way. Anyway, random, huge scope, creepy idea, but
I mean, goodness, if I could break through this, it would be like my highest achievement. Is what is a version that works for ADHD brains of a streak? Because streaks decidedly don't work well, in my opinion, for ADHD brains, because they're demotivating, because you see that, like, for every brain, I think that streaks, the average brain, I think streaks aren't effective. It really is kind of a highly motivated person already that's motivated by streaks. And then you get average.
Streaks are motivating until you miss one, and then it's the exact
and
opposite.
It switches, flips a switch, and you're like, well, screw this, screw you, I suck, bye. I don't want to do streaks, and I'm against, like, we've purposely not done it in Shelpful. Lydia and I are like very devoted against that cause. So that's the other thing of like, what, because I love the idea of, yes, like that's a really cool idea of a different punishment other than money. That's the one, like, one point there.
Right.
And like something that shows progress in a subtle way that maybe gives you a little dopamine boost and doesn't feel like,
and could maybe be something that you share.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, maybe it's possibly something you're sharing, like the progress of your character or your garden or your whatever it is.
The stone that you polish, or I don't even know what it is. Yeah. I think that there could be something there for progress sharing. But yeah, the first version is just going to be, I think the reason we're doing the bailout is it's a very simple mechanic. It's easy to understand. And it's easy to build because it's just an in-app payment, So like we don't have to do like infrastructures or partnerships with charities or, different tax forms and things. Like it's just easy to test. And so I, like you, try to just get the most bare minimum put together and then just get it out there. So I'm going to start probably trying to build a beta waitlist. So I guess I can plug that at the end right now. At some point, we'll probably post that on my social, probably soon, to start getting people who maybe want to test it out once we have a version. And I've tested an early prototype, but like the next version, I'm going to start testing probably tomorrow, hoping that we can get it into other people's hands in the next couple weeks.
Nice.
You want to test
it? Yeah, absolutely.
What have you been working on?
A few different interesting things. One of the things, wavepal related is where my kind of focus has been on side project stuff. There's a few different things. So one thing I would say is currently the wavepal, like the web interface, is a little bit almost kind of vanilla, which was intentional as we were building it, of like, we're not going to go crazy with design yet. We're just going to kind of like build all the pieces and make it work. And we're kind of at the point now where it feels like, okay, as the designer part of me is like, I feel like we need a refresh. And there's been a few kind of other apps I've seen recently that have sort of been inspiring in that of like, yeah, I want to make some changes here and kind of do a fresh approach to the design language here. And so I kind of proposed one that I sent to my co-founder. He hasn't had a chance to dive through that, but I told him basically, record yourself going through this new design and just like react live so I can kind of hear your first impressions as you go through it. But then another thing that I've been doing is I kind of was just recently inspired of like, I would like to have a mascot character for wavepal, like something that's makes it a little bit more personal, kind of like a, what's the owl for Duolingo or something like that.
Yeah. Which I think it works for Wave. I think not every product should do that, but wavepal, that makes a lot of sense because it's very like check-in friendly.
Yeah. It's supposed to be very friendly. And I think that would help also with the The vanilla is the wrong word, but like kind of, you've got like a table view, which isn't very like it's useful as like you've got your friends kind of listed in this table view, but it's not very like, hey, hang out and check out, check in with your friends and stuff like that. It's kind of a little bit impersonal. And so I think a character could help with the warmth of the product, kind of
Yeah.
having this recurring character, if it's just like blank states or tutorials or like marketing or like putting in the emails and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I started playing with a few different ones and I came up with a pretty simple like design, and it's kind of like a pixel aesthetic, kind of almost like an old NES
Fun.
game or
I
something
love
like
that.
that. And I was playing with it a little bit and kind of I was like, okay, this could work. I want to build a few different animations for it. And I kind of want to make it easy to build these animations. And long story short, I've been building a pixel animation editor, like a whole app
Ah,
that like lets me build these different
oh my
animated
gosh.
avatars. So
Okay. Wait. Let me just repeat this back to you to make sure I understand. Goal is making just a little cute avatar, but you built a tool that generally builds avatar, pixelated avatars.
yes.
Amazing.
Yeah. And part of the reason for this, I was kind of messing with it a little bit, and then I was like, I wish this could be easier. Of like, say I have it like broken down right now. So you've got like the eyes and the mouth, and then like the body of the character, and then like props of like confetti or like a party hat or a message sending or like things like that. And I was starting to build these pieces, and I wanted a way to do it easily. So, like, for example, I want a pair of eyes, which is just like 4 pixels in a box, but I want it to blink like once every like 2 seconds. And so I set it up so that it's now you can add this animated part to your animation. So you don't have to like manually do the frames for the eyes. You just set it so that like, oh, these are going to blink every couple seconds.
Cool.
And then I can manually do this other stuff. And another part of my, it's actually really fitting for this episode. We were talking about parenting, and I mentioned my daughter's an artist. She wants to get in here and like start using the app to build some of these
Oh,
different
that's
animations because
full
she really
circle
loves doing that
fun.
sort of stuff.
Oh man,
Yeah,
I love
yeah,
that. Like something you guys could kind of collab on a little bit.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm really, really excited about it. So that I think I took the, like the little, I don't know, Pixel Studio thing further than I would have, knowing that she wants to do that, so that I can really give her a tool and then she can just sort of like build and like create all these different things.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I'm really excited to see that sort of come to life. It's getting really close. I think it's about to the point where I'm going to be able to be like, okay, here you go,
I love that.
go nuts, like make some
I
fun
love that.
animations and stuff.
Oh, fun.
So very excited about the little, yeah.
My son he's taken electronic music classes, so he's kind of understands some
Ooh.
basic editing, right? Like, it's similar to video editing, trimming audio and putting things together. And so I'm like,
Yeah.
when do I put him in for editing my videos? Maybe he can start editing these podcast episodes.
Nice.
I mean, like,
yeah.
really, as we close out this episode, let's really just figure out
Child
how to
labor.
put our
Let's bring
kids
it
to
on.
work for us. And then we could, hire them as employees and set them up for a great retirement plan.
Yeah, exactly. I do think there's something really kind of cool about that entrepreneurship as a parent, of getting them involved,
Yeah.
and not like, as we're kind of joking, not like exploiting them, but letting them be kind of involved in that process of like building things that are kind of ultimately for a business purpose.
Yeah.
Like you're using it in a way to like have a business, have a living, but also like being able to use kind of unique gifts. Cause I know that she's going to be better at doing this than I am, because she just really has a great artistic talent.
Mm-hmm.
And she's really excited she's already been like, ooh, when can I do it? When can I do it? I want to get in there and make some stuff. And so, but yeah, I think there's something really cool about that opportunity that's a bit unique when you're an entrepreneur, of having something that they can do to sort of like engage that before they're actually like, working real jobs and things like that.
I think, like, trace that same concept back to Girl Scout cookies, that I mean, times have changed and we don't really push our kids outside and have them go door knock anymore. But I sold a lot of Girl Scout cookies. I was a machine. And so I feel like that tied into like who I became as an adult. But I also feel like that was that formative experience and the charge I got from the success of my hard work, or the success that came from hard work, I should say. I think that has been kind of a drug I've been chasing ever since. So I feel like, I mean, drugs not the right word, but
child labor,
drugs.
drugs.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's just wrap this up. Let's do picks and plugs.
Yeah. Plugs and picks. Plugs and picks. So what's your plug? Where can people find you if they want to find out more about what you're doing?
Shelpful.com is my website, the AI task manager, the one and only. And also Instagram is a great place to just stay updated on what we're building. And that's where I'll share news of the app that I just teased. So that's at Shelpful on Instagram. What about you, Jesse?
You can find me on pretty much all social media as ADHD Jesse, and you can join the waitlist for WavePal, which should be featuring a cute little avatar sometime soon at wavepal.app.
Oh, I want to go look at it now. That was a really good teaser. Amazing. And my pick is Claude Design, which I know I've talked about before, but I don't think that I fully explained how wondrous it is.
Yeah, we kind of you had just started playing with it, I think.
It was new.
So you kind of talked about your first experience with it.
So it is very new from Claude. It's not even in the app. It's not obviously not on mobile, but not even on the desktop app. It's just web. And at first it was a separate set of tokens, and now it's actually merged. If you have a plan, it's merged with your Claude Code and Claude Cowork tokens. But it's very cool. It is one of the best design tools I've used because it makes detailed UX things that you can then go edit, with actual click into and edit. And so for wireframing prototyping, there's literally nothing better, but also for social media content, for if there's anything you're trying to dream up, it's a very structured way to design that's not just here's an image and then I'm trying to react to that image in chat. It's very structured to be able to fine tune design elements. It allowed us to speed run this new app times 1,000.
Could you walk through what would if you wanted to sit down, maybe you had a new idea for an app, what would it kind of look like?
So there's a prototype feature on it. So it actually makes clickable prototypes so that you can you basically just in a chat. The first step is you spend some amount of time. I spent quite a lot of time making our the Shelpful design framework, which they try to make you do right when you get in. So if you don't really have a brand that you're working with, you just put a few colors that you like and a logo, and that's it. I thought it would be because I wanted to be able to do mock-ups of my actual app that we have, the Shelpful app. So I put all the UX elements in there. I hooked it up. I grabbed some stuff from GitHub. I kind of made it really robust.
Just like screenshots? Or...
yes, screenshots. And also you can do kind of code snippets. You can give file, image files, things like that. Colors, the color palette. And then that's the framework that you start with. And then once you do that, you can hop in and you choose, you can choose slide deck, which it would do really well with, but I haven't used it for that because I don't really do slide decks that often.
Right.
Or you can choose prototype, and maybe there's one other option. And so prototype is the one I've used the most, but I have used, and then there's other. So I've used that for making carousels, Instagram carousels. And you can just kind of same as vibe coding. You just go in there and say, I want to make an app. Here's this, here are the details. I had actual sketches, pen and paper, just little scrappy sketches. I had a pretty clear idea of what I wanted, and I had some framework for our existing app and how some of the existing UX that I wanted to pull in. So I had a pretty specific brief, and the first version was great. Definitely made some tweaks and definitely but it kind of makes some good guesses on the color palette. It, iconography, the app icon, and it displays it like you're in Figma, or as if you were, it's a fully laid out app. So it's just so helpful. And then we could just instantly look at it as a team, react, fine tune things, fonts, colors, whatever. But the usability and the user experience are often the hardest things to kind of go back and forth. And so I have mentioned it a bunch in just passing, but it's an official pick because I think if you haven't tried it, just go play with it because it's way different than, if you wanted to generate a beautiful image, I think ChatGPT's probably got the best, just one-off image generation. But if you want layout, anything that's laid out, a app screen or a slide deck, I think Cloud Design is my top for now. Although Nano Banana probably versus ChatGPT probably for that image generation. There's probably a bake off there.
Nice, cool. Well, that actually inspired. I have two different picks now because that made me think of a couple of different things. One, if you're someone that's using AI, like I use Claude Code a lot, there's a nice little utility just called Open Usage. And it's an open source app that just kind of sits up in your menu bar. So you can see like the percentage of usage,
Ooh.
because I have a Claude plan where I can, you hit your limit, and so it's an unlimited plan, but with the
What's it
limits.
called?
It's just called Open Usage, and I think we just openusage.ai, and then that will get you the link. It's just a really basic
That's
little
so helpful
utility up
though,
there
because sometimes
that's
I'm like,
super
and also
helpful.
it helps meter like, am I asking just like, am I just kind of riffing or am I like focused on work? Because I'll think about that with token usage. Like, am
Right.
I optimizing my life or work? And I want to make sure I use my tokens for work. That's great.
Right. Yeah. So that's a great simple utility that doesn't do a lot, but it's just sort of like nice up there. You can sort of see where your percentage is if you're using a lot of, a lot of AI. And another thing, kind of more related with what you're talking about with design, I've been using. It's called, well, I guess it's like UI.sh, and so kind of like UI-ish or something. And it's by the creators of Tailwind. And what it is, it's for when you're using AI coding and then you want to iterate on UI. And so like the people behind Tailwind, they're really good with UI. They know that stuff really well. And they've built, it's kind of like a set of skills that work together. One example of how I'll use it, say I have like an app and there's a certain area of it where I'm like, this interface doesn't feel quite right. I wonder if there's a better way to organize this information. And so I'll just like grab a screenshot of it or maybe point to where it is in the code and do like /UI and then say like, show me a few variations of how I could lay out this same thing. And then it'll either do it like live on the page, or I can have it generate like a different HTML page, which will show kind of like a prototype version, and maybe sometimes with like levers so I can like adjust it. And it'll show me all these kind of variations of like different ways that are sometimes, a more common way of laying out this information. Or I might take like, here's like a sidebar and say, I want to add these two features. Show me a few different variations of what that might look like. And it just does a really good job, like much better than what I've found with like Claude Code can do that too, but it's just not as good. It like doesn't have that whatever special sauce UI knowledge that the Tailwind people are putting into UI.sh, that I found it super, super valuable.
I'd be curious for
And
your
so
review of UI.sh versus Claude Design. Because like Claude Code I'm curious because Claude Code, I also agree, doesn't do great for you. I feel like they not all the juice from Claude Design is in Claude Code. In fact, Claude Code didn't even know what Claude Design was when I asked it about.
Right. It definitely feels like they're kind of a different approach because you're doing it from a code perspective.
Got it. Okay.
And so I think even though I feel like the output of each is probably similar, Claude Design is going to be, you're going to have a much more user-friendly approach where UI.sh is you're typing it all out. You're using code to interact with kind of these design iterations, which for me feels really natural.
Yeah.
But if you're not a coder, like it's not something you'd be interested in at all, I don't think.
You'd be surprised. I've gotten into coding more lately. Just kidding. Yeah, that's good. That's all right. Good. So you didn't have any picks, and now you have two.
Yeah, we made it work. So
this can't officially be my pick because it's just I'm running it locally right now, but my big win of the week was I vibe coded a carousel maker that I can paste any Instagram reel of mine into my little carousel maker, and then it looks at the transcript because I like my type of content is these like 90 second to to 2 minute like kind of yapping videos where I explain a concept or whatever. And so those tips that are my tips get pulled into a carousel, like the carousel style that it's like the same photo background for all. And then just, it breaks down, it takes from my words and my transcript, like pulls some, makes it kind of like a swiping story type thing where it builds by swiping. But it's just a super simple design, and then you're able to actually go and edit individual carousel slides. And so that's not in Cloud Design. That was from Cloud Code. And this design is not sophisticated on this. It's because my social media page is very like simple in terms of design. And it's very cool because I love it because, I have these reels that like performed really, really well. And so the content from them is helpful to people. And so I'd love to be able to put them in other formats, but that takes time and, and effort and thought. And so I made that, and I might have it run as an agent, but I want to play with it a little bit more first before I try to like automate it. But I've done too.
That's this weird, interesting world we're in now where AI can empower you to build these tools. It's just like the thing I said with like the wavepal, like pixel studio that I have. I'm not going to release that. It's not a product that I'm going to like share with other people, but it's this very focused tool that does exactly what I need it to do to be able to build these little pixel animations that I want to build. And it's just like something that would never have been worth it before, and now it's like you can do it. The tools are available. It's just such a fast forward in these different areas that allow you to build something usable for
like your own,
for your own use case.
SaaS, your own stack, your own like tech stack.
Yeah.
I do, but then also, I think the fun thing is, and there's plenty of stories in startup lore about this, in much slower tech times than our AI time right now, of like sometimes the tool you build to help yourself is actually helpful to other people too. So like once I built this, I'm like, oh my gosh, I think other people would love this. But now, I was trying not to get distracted, and it would take more work for me to put on a server. And
it's such a problem, that the distraction thing, because I literally last night I was using the tool, and right now, because the character we have has like eyes, a mouth, and like a body, and those are kind of like the three types. I have those like built in, but I was having the thought last night of what if actually those were like you could define different types, and those just happen to be the three that I would use for this character. But I was kind of like thinking of it from like that product perspective of how would someone else want to use it? Maybe they would have like 7 types for a different type of character or something like that. And so I was like already kind of evolving. Maybe it could be used for more than just and that it's so easy to. I feel like I've like a million apps that I want to build. And now I'm like, I had no idea that I wanted to make a little pixel studio, but that's sort of where I just sort of found myself as I was exploring building
that's what I love about
this little character.
Yeah, that's what, I mean, you're such a tinkerer, and I love that about how you work. I'd love to see you share this. I mean, you obviously shared it in the podcast. We should clip it. But the like just that process is really cool, and just putting it out there, being like, hey, look what I built. And seeing if everyone else is like, I need this, then you could spend the extra couple hours open sourcing it.
I need to bonus pick. I know I've mentioned this book
he had
before.
0 picks, and now he has 3. Just if anyone's keeping track.
There's the great book by Austin Kleon called "Show Your Work," and it's all about sort of just sharing and posting about the things that you're building, and it's kind of the whole like sawdust, like using the part of the process, the stuff you're doing kind of along the way as content itself. And that's something I feel like I need to get back into the habit of, because I'm building really fun, cool stuff here, and I'm not really sharing it anywhere.
Right.
And I probably should be.
Exclusive to this podcast, everyone. But yeah.
Right. Like I'm only sharing it with on the pod. But even here, like I'm not like the Pixel Studio thing I'm talking about. I could have been sharing screenshots of this somewhere along the whole way, and I haven't been, and maybe that's something I need to get back into the habit of.
Just make it pretend like I'm just gonna do this. I'm trying to share this prove it thing as we go, because I just don't want to sit and hold everything close to the chest and close to the vest and feel, because that doesn't make it's not going to make it better. Like if there's competition isn't something I need to be afraid of. So like what at this size, I mean, so like if what harm comes from getting input early? And the answer is none. And if not, it's benefit. Right. So you can hold me to that too, because I also am trying to I'm like, okay, I'll share every day in threads. And then I posted once. So I think I'm also trying to figure out my cadence to share this proactive stuff because it's vulnerable too. And sometimes you're just heads down and just working and you just don't even think to pop up and share it. That's probably the bigger issue.
Yeah, I want to read through that book again, which I feel like does a good job of giving you some of those like daily practices to think about as you're building stuff.
Yeah.
And that feels like a thing I should be doing, of just like a really quick share. I feel like I could do that really often. Threads maybe is a good place for that, because I focus on talking about Flux on Blue Sky. So maybe Threads could be where I talk a bit more about just sort of like these side project things like Sport Bar
Yeah.
that I haven't released yet, but that's like basically ready to release. And this thing. Yeah. All right. Well, three picks in. I think I'm good. I think I'm done with my picks.
Yes.
But we probably should wrap
We probably
this
should wrap
episode.
up. And now like I've decided on the notebook I keep at my desk, I'm going to keep a picks list because I always have things that I draw blank during our recording.
That's a good idea. Yeah,
we'll see how I stick with it. But or maybe we should just like text each other these progress updates, or like, and with Marie, obviously, and then just screenshot those WhatsApp messages and post those.
I love how you use like our WhatsApp as like quick little posts. I saw your like Instagram about me being late to this.
I did that. I would ask permission if it were beyond just I'm on my way. I feel like you having ADHD is like a disclosed item.
Yes. Yep.
All right. Well, thanks everyone. See you next time.